comes out at just over 7-1, with the £50 charity stake returning £404 and 10 pence to the Bobby Moore Fund if being successful. And remember, the win and draw selections in the charity bet backed in the match odds 90 market, if those selections are winning at 90 minutes, we'll be paying them out regardless what happens in added time under our 90-minute guarantee. So fingers crossed, Adrian, we can add some more money into the pot.
And the one game we haven't mentioned there, Palace against Bournemouth, anything on that?
Yeah, Palace just edging favouritism here at 7-5, even though they have shipped 5 in their last 2 games. The draw is priced at 9-5, and Bournemouth to win the game are 8-5. They are in the match odds 90 market, but just some of the stats. Palace they failed to win or even score in their last 3 against the Cherries, but Palace have won each of their last 3 home Premier League matches, so it looks a really tight game, and the odds suggest that.
James, thanks very much. That odds update, all thanks to Betfair. 18+, BeGambleAware.org.
Game day on TalkSport with Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on football hackers or bet builders this week. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18+, BeGambleAware.org.
When Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron crashed over the ropes in the Kingdom Arena out in Riyadh, that was the spark that lit this fire.
I went to check his hand, I said, all right, and he just blanked me, so I thought, oh, it's on now. I didn't even see him, to be fair. He did, he looked me straight in the eyes. I must have missed that nose. He's not laying, though, is he?
Fighter, whoa, and wait a minute! They've gone Royal Rumble WWE style! Ben Whittaker was looking out of sorts before this happened. Both guys seem to be injured here.
This bout is a technical decision split draw.
The Sky commentators, they can't say, but I'll say it looked like he bottled it.
If you look at the Champions League, he's Brest, Real Madrid. He got a draw, and he's running away with it.
We've signed for a 12-round fight. They're trying to push it for a 10-round. They're doing everything they can, and I'm not budging.
We know what's going on. They want to play games. Well, it's a 10-round fight, and I agreed that in writing. This is the Ben Whittaker show.
So on the 20th of April, Easter Sunday, we go again. The rematch is on.
The rematch is on, and it's on the TalkSport network. Starts at 7 tomorrow on TalkSport 2, 9 p.m. on TalkSport, and all live on the TalkSport YouTube channel. Easter Sunday in Birmingham. I know for a fact Troy Deeney's actually going to be there at the fight. He loves his boxing so much. But Ben Whittaker, the mouthy showboater, and Liam Cameron getting it on again. I think it's fair to say they do not like each other. Don't miss that. Tomorrow night, Easter Sunday, TalkSport 2 at 7 and resuming on TalkSport at 9. Easter Monday, we've got live football for you. Walsall are 4th in League 2. They get these stats right. Walsall, 4th in League 2. That's out of the automatic promotion places. They were 12 points clear at the top of the table in mid-January. They won 18 of their first 25 games. They were brilliant. On loan, 15-goal striker Nathan Lowe was recalled by Stoke. And since then, it's 2 wins in 18 for Walsall, and they're now out of the automatic places. They go to Newport Monday lunchtime. It's live on TalkSport 2. After that on TalkSport 2, it's Leeds against Stoke, commentary from the Championship. Leeds top of the table. And on TalkSport from 1 on Monday, I'll be at Elland Road taking you around the grounds with all the goals as they go in. Dean Ash, are you at a game Monday?
I am. I'm at Luton.
After
that big win for them against Derby.
Yeah, it was huge, wasn't it? Absolutely. I think that they would have gone down without that win, by the way. I'm absolutely certain of that. But they got the win, and that's tightened it up down at the bottom. Then at 5:30, Burnley against Sheffield United. Commentary is live and exclusive on TalkSport. That is then followed by exclusive Premier League commentary of Spurs against Nottingham Forest on TalkSport with Faye Carruthers as your host for the evening. Premier League commentary coming up this midweek as well. Tuesday night, Man City against Aston Villa. What a game, live on TalkSport. Wednesday, it's Arsenal against Crystal Palace. That is live and exclusive on TalkSport as well. Less than 15 to kick off this afternoon on Game Day Live on TalkSport.
Game Day Live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Like Aston Villa versus Newcastle live today. Search Now Sports. 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
At Betfair, we relish the plot twists that football's tense run-in delivers. With titles, promotions and relegations on the line, the form book can take a back seat and the drama has the power to rewrite scripts. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Valid for 72 hours on Football Hackers or Bet Builders. Min combined odds of 1.5. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Game Day Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Game Day. Hear the weekend's biggest Premier League action. Oh my word! The big guns are out. Game Day Live on TalkSport.
Right, I think they've started the second half of extra time at Hampden Park. David Tanner.
They have indeed, and it's still Hearts 1, Aberdeen 1, and the best effort of that first period of extra time fell to the Palestinian forward in Aberdeen's team. Ode Daba had a low shot from 12 yards out. I thought it was net bound, but it was stopped on the line by Craig Gordon, who dived to his left-hand side. Not only did he stop it, he also held on to it in a crowded penalty box. Terrific stop by the Scotland goalkeeper. Hearts with 10 men for the last hour. They're beginning to slow down a little bit. Can they hold out? We'll wait and see. It's Hearts 1, Aberdeen 1 at the start of the second period of extra time.
And we'll of course keep you updated with what happens there. I've got to say, some of the players are going down with cramp in extra time. One of them is Alfie Dorrington. He's the youngster on loan to Aberdeen from Spurs. Now, you know when players go down with cramp and somebody comes and stretches them out and then they're absolutely fine and they're running around? When I have cramp, I can't move for about 3 hours. Alfie Dorrington looks like me with cramp. Is it really that bad on the pitch when you have cramp?
Horrible.
Is it?
Horrible, yeah.
And how do you carry on?
I couldn't.
Is it like normal cramp?
Yes.
Is it? How on earth do footballers carry on then?
Well, because you got someone coming on straight away to massage it and stretch it. You don't get that when you're in bed.
Well, actually. How on earth do you know? Enough of this. We are heading up towards kick-off. 10 to kick off. Let's bring in Scott Mintos at Crystal Palace against Bournemouth this afternoon. Interesting. I want to talk about Crystal Palace for a little bit because they've got some really good eye-catching players you would pay money to see. However, incredibly, they've lost the last two, conceding 10 goals. Before that, they had the third best defence in the Premier League. It's now the 10th best. What's happened in the last two games?
Honestly, Aid, I don't know. I mean, I'll go back to that Manchester City game where they were 2-0 up and Eberezer scored the third, and they looked on fire. And then suddenly Kevin De Bruyne scores to make it 2-1, and, you know, we say, don't we, 2-1, you know, or 2-0, the next goal was important, but they did collapse. They didn't have Mark Gueye in that game, but they did in midweek. And I just think, do you know what, I was just speaking to Jay Robson alongside me, and you know, I really, really like Oliver Glasner. I would have loved to have played under him, because what he said after the game at Newcastle was, he said, you know what? He said, that's one to throw in the bin. You know, I'm not going to overanalyse it. Now, we know he is going to analyse it, but to the press, he's saying, do you know what? We're going to put it to one side. Dino's played in games, I've played in games where you don't know what's happened. Suddenly, there's 4 or 5 passes and you think, oh my goodness me, everything just went wrong that game. Sometimes if you overanalyse it, it goes into the next game. And let me tell you, he definitely would have tore a strip off the wall at half-time, because it looked like he was holding himself back when he was asked that particular question. But what I liked again about it was he didn't throw any of the players under the bus. So it's been really poor defensively in the last 2 games, or 1 3/4 games, and yet he's still saying, look, we're going to be positive, because look, listen, Palace are doing really well in the league. Where they are right now is brilliant, considering where they've been at this stage of the season, even in the Premier League in recent seasons. But this season for them now is about the FA Cup. So he wants to make sure they're all peaking for that and the semi-final. So, look, what's happened? It's been really poor defending, collectively and individually. They've got to stop the mistakes, or they're not getting through to the FA Cup final. But do I see them bouncing back? And that's why I think today is very, very important. When you have back-to-back games, losses, where you conceded 5 goals in each game, you absolutely have to make sure the next one is pretty much as close to a clean sheet. And I'm sure we'll see a reasonably defensive performance from Crystal Palace, despite them being at home. We know Bournemouth are very happy to do high press, high intensity, almost man-to-man at times. They will not try and play the ball out from the back. They'll keep it safe. And you talk about the players they've got. Eza, Sarr, Mateta, and to have Hughes and Wharton in midfield as well. That's a really exciting team to watch. So I don't think they'll mess around at the back, but once they get to the middle part of the pitch, I can see them playing really nice football and scoring a goal.
Okay, Eza, he's played 28 games, played in 28 games this season in the Premier League. only 3 goals, 8 assists is healthy, I suppose, but are we looking for a bit more from him?
Yeah, possibly. I think the start of the season he struggled like many did, and we've mentioned this before about, you know, the tournaments, the major tournaments, not just the Copa America and the Euros, but also the Olympics. The bad start to the season they had. Key players, especially Michael Olise going, I think they have really picked up. Those assists look good to me, but yes, you want to see him score a few more goals, and I'm sure he wouldn't have slept well Wednesday night, because he should have made it 4, shouldn't he, with that penalty. But still, the class, he's shown he's by far and away not just a Premier League player but an international. And these are one of these games where you say, OK, we've had these bad defeats, now it's time to step up, and we need our leaders, and he's certainly one of them.
He is just surveying the scene here at Goodison ahead of Everton against Manchester City with Dean Ashton alongside me. There's a load of flags, more flags than the United Nations in the end away to our left. The Gladys Street end, a big banner just saying Everton, and then another one saying we're Everton, we'll be Everton forever. So just to make that clear. And even if they go to the new stadium, they'll be Everton forever. But Dean Ashton, I think it's possibly your last visit here, possibly my last visit to this place. And it's a really lovely old stadium, isn't it?
It is. I had my first experience really of a top stadium here when I was at Crewe, and we got drawn against them in the FA Cup, and we came here, and I was 17, and it shook me. It really shook me, the noise, the level, when I came out of the tunnel and experienced it for the first time as a 17-year-old. And I've never forgot it. And whenever anyone asks, where's the best atmosphere you've ever experienced? And this is one of them, because of that moment, because of the sort of how much it sort of shook me to the core, the sort of noise of it. And so I'll always have sort of a little special place in my heart. Plus I've scored here, which is always nice.
Do you want to talk us through it?
Lucas Neal on the right hand side whipped a cross in, and I full krug leapt in the air, headed it in off the post past Tim Howard. Not that I remember all my goals or anything.
Did Lucas Neal wipe out whoever crossed it? No, I think that it is a great stadium. I can understand the need to move, but you know, every time one of these old stadiums goes, it kind of a little bit dies, doesn't it? And it's hard because you can't stay here forever. It's not fit for purpose, and they've made the decision they're not going to build it up like they have done across the park at Anfield. They're just going to move to a completely new stadium. I get it, but it just, I don't know, it's a bit like the Emirates is a great stadium, but Highbury was so brilliant, but they just had to move because it just wasn't fit for purpose anymore.
Lifetime memories that people have that are created here, whether that's with family and friends, whether that's with somebody you just met when you got your season ticket for the first time and stood next to them for the next 20, 30, 40 years and seen your club go through the ups and downs and the emotions of that. That's all tied in with each cathedral that the clubs play at, and that can't be taken for granted, how painful that is for supporters to have to leave that behind almost. But you're right, there is a sense of for new generations and being fit for purpose, and it does kind of feel like the right time for this stadium to be locked for the final time.
Yeah, there's 2 more games here. Ipswich and Southampton come here, but this is a big one against Manchester City, and Everton always lose here against Manchester City. That's just how it is. That's the reality of what history says. The last win at home to Manchester City was in 2017. It finished 4-0. Tom Davies scored his first Everton goal. He also cleared one off the line. He was sensational throughout the game. Ross Barkley set Davies up for his goal. Ademola Lookman scored the 4th. That was on his Everton debut. And manager Ronald Koeman said it was perfect. Pep Guardiola's Man City were absolutely smashed out of the Goodison Park. The teams take to the field. And I remember that game clearly. Do you know why? Because the next day on Drive, I compared Tom Davies to Steven Gerrard. How did that work out? In that game, he did play like Steven Gerrard.
Can't get them all right.
After that game, it didn't quite go to the same trajectory. We were watching Phil Foden in the warm-up. Just describe how much joy you got out of that.
I just loved it. I just was in awe almost of his talent and just how he was just playing like one of the kids on the streets outside here, but just the ball totally under his spell. cheeky things that he was trying and almost showing, because that's what he is, he's almost showing off as well to everyone that's watching and the warm-ups. And just a lovely little touch. There's just one Manchester City mascot today, and every single player gave him a high five as they went in from the warm-up. He turned to his dad as if like, I'm just part of it. They're my mates.
How do you know he's not playing? He's got the wrong kit on, that's why. But Phil Foden, all right, he can do it in the warm-up. That's what people are saying, but can he do it in the game? We shall see. We've got a red card in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden Park, David Tanner.
And we've got 3 minutes of extra time to go. It's still Hearts 1, Aberdeen 1, but Hearts have been reduced to 9 men. Cammy Devlin given a second yellow card. It's been coming for a long time. He slides in. He has a great chance from the free kick, but it hits the wall. And Hearts are down to 9 men for the last couple of minutes. I can tell you that Lawrence Shankland, who is one of their main penalty takers, has just been taken off with cramp, and George Grant, another penalty taker, has also gone off in this game. So Hearts down to 9 men if they can hold that. It's a goal! Is it a goal? It's a goal for Aberdeen! Aberdeen have scored with 90 seconds left of the 120 minutes, and the ball is put in the back of the net by Ode Daba. The striker from Palestine scores the goal that sends the Aberdeen fans into raptures, and we have hardly heard them in this game. They've been a really nervy support as 9 men Hearts held on, but finally they get the break with just a minute, 2 minutes from penalties. Aberdeen are ahead for the second time in this Scottish Cup semi-final. It's Hearts 1, Aberdeen 2.
Wow, the goals as they go in on TalkSport, and Aberdeen all set for a Scottish Cup final against either Celtic or St Johnstone. They've just got to see that out right at the very end of extra time. Absolute killer, isn't it, when you just think it's going to penalties and then they score. Killer for the defeated side, but for Aberdeen, absolute joy. And you wonder about some of those substitutions as well with penalties looming. It doesn't matter now. Aberdeen look like they're heading through. We are heading up towards kick-off here. Scott Minto, quick word on Bournemouth, who you're watching this afternoon, and their season has been a good one, but recent form hasn't been so great. Avoid defeat, and they set a new points record in the Premier League, and if they win, they set a new club record for wins in a Premier League season as well. So yes, there's been a little bit of a drop-off until Monday night's win live on TalkSport, but overall good season.
Absolutely, and look, only Liverpool have scored more away goals in the Premier League season than Bournemouth, and they don't mind a 2-2 or certainly scoring and conceding 2 goals. So I do expect goals in this particular game. Let's be realistic, this is Bournemouth. You know, they've got the smallest stadium by far in the Premier League. How they're fighting where they are, I think, is great credit to the owners, to the manager, and to the players as well. And they play a lovely, attractive brand of football, certainly easy on the eye and nice to watch as well. So just the fact that we're still talking about the possibility of Europe, I think, is incredible.
It is. We're about to get underway in our 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, including this one here at a packed and noisy Goodison Park. Manchester City in their away kit as Everton get us underway. We're going to bring you all the goals as they go in and take you around the grounds on Game Day Live on TalkSport this afternoon. And don't forget, we've got live football on Monday night, live Premier League football exclusive to TalkSport as Spurs take on Forest.
Wolves 4, Spurs 2, and they were gifted most of their goals by this Spurs side, who've now lost 17 Premier League games this season.
It's fair to say it's been challenging. No doubt Forest, they're a tough opposition. They're having a great season. They've got huge motivation to win on Monday night.
They have not played in the European Cup since 1980. Don't be surprised if they do.
It's been a long time since Forest were in that sort of area in the table. I think Champions League place is well on the cards now.
I still think it'd be to see Forest back in Europe.
Unbelievable. In our hands, but nobody's going to give us nothing. We have to do it by ourselves.
Yeah, that's live and exclusive on Monday night on TalkSport as Nottingham Forest take on Tottenham Hotspur. It's actually in North London at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Still playing in Scotland at Hampden Park. Hearts 1, Aberdeen 2. Hearts down to 9 men. And earlier in the Women's Champions League semi-final, first leg it finished Arsenal 1, Lyon 2. And in the Women's Super League, there's a couple of results for you. West Ham 0, Manchester United 0, and it finished Brighton 1, Liverpool 2. Both of those full times. We've got Got some Women's Super League tomorrow, actually. Sunday session tomorrow is at 1:30 on TalkSport. I'll be hosting in for Sam Matterface, hosting the show from the 4:30 game. That's Leicester against Liverpool. Arsenal are at Ipswich at 2. Now, unlikely, but if Arsenal lose that, then Liverpool need a win to seal the title. It could happen on Easter Sunday tomorrow. Also in the Premier League, Fulham-Chelsea as the race for Europe goes on. That's at 2. Manchester United host in-form Wolves, and we've got loads of other action as well. The Scottish Cup semi-final, the second one between the 2021 winners St Johnstone and Celtic, going for 3 in a row. Looks like they'll be playing Aberdeen in the final next month. There's a Women's Champions League semi-final as well. Chelsea go to Barcelona, winners for the last 2 years. We've got WSL games. Man City take on Everton. Spurs Villa, packed show, Sunday session from 1:30 tomorrow on TalkSport, live from the King Power Stadium. And that Women's Champions League semi-final first leg is live on TalkSport 2. Barcelona taking on Chelsea. And a reminder that Easter Monday we're back round the grounds, and the double header in the EFL from Good Friday. We were around the grounds with all the goals they go in. Same again on Monday. Walsall 4th in League 2. They have had that dramatic collapse after being 12 points clear in mid-January. They go to Newport Monday lunchtime. That's live on TalkSport 2. After that, on TalkSport 2, commentary of Leeds against Stoke. And from 1 on Monday, I'll be at Ellen Road taking you around the grounds, all the goals as they go in. 5:30, Burnley against Sheffield United, commentary live and exclusive on TalkSport. And that's then followed by that Premier League game, Spurs against Nottingham Forest. A couple of games in midweek Premier League. Man City, Aston Villa, live on TalkSport. And Wednesday, it's Arsenal against Crystal Palace, again live on TalkSport. You don't need to go anywhere else. We've got all the live football across the TalkSport network. Early stages then, let's take you around the grounds in the Premier League, starting here at Goodison with Dean Ashton and John Dunn.
Where it's Everton 0, Manchester City 0. The visitors certainly bossing possession in the early stages. Slight opening on goal. Nico O'Reilly with a burst of pace, good show of strength. Got Savinho in down the left side on the byline, pulled the ball back, but it was cleared away by Jake O'Brien. Manchester City have won on their last 8 visits to Goodison Park, and they'll be pleased with the start they made.
Very pleased, yeah. Marmouche in particular has looked razor sharp, and that kind of combination between him and Kevin De Bruyne, who's at times playing as the 9, and Marmouche will then drift slightly to the left-hand side. It seems to be working really well in the last few games, and already they've combined a couple of times.
Manchester City on the ball again. Ball in from Ruben Dias. Tarkowski will head away. Probably the shape of the game as you expect it to go. And Everton having to defend deep. Manchester City keeping the ball close to the 18-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, look, they'll be unapologetic about it. David Moyes always has been in the way that he sets his teams up. 19th in the Premier League for average possession, whereas Man City are top. So they're just going to sit there. Everton defend properly and look to counter-attack.
4.5 minutes gone. Everton 0, Manchester City 0.
You're right, we do expect this, Dean Ashton, from David Moyes and his sides, but he did say pre-season, or not pre-season rather, when he got the job here earlier this season, he said we're moving to an elite stadium and we'll need to buy elite players. So do you suspect those elite players will bring about a change in style?
I wouldn't say a massive change, because I just think that's the way he sees the game being played. What I think he wants more of is that bravery and quality when they do get the ball, to be able to counter-attack quickly with genuine quality and be able to throw more men forwards in the belief of it working, rather than maybe not having the quality and not being able to then gamble with the amount of players you
had at West Ham.
Yes.
So a bit like what he was doing at West Ham.
The same.
Do West Ham want him back?
Probably.
0-0 here, but it's all over in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden. Here's TalkSport's David Tanner.
And it's finished. Hearts 1, Aberdeen 2. The Dons reached their first Scottish Cup final for 8 years, as Hearts in discipline cost them a return trip to Hampden Park next month. They had 2 players sent off in the 120 minutes of this semi-final. Aberdeen took the lead in the first half through a Craig Gordon own goal. It was a Papagaye header from a corner. It cracked off the crossbar and rebounded off Craig Gordon's back, and the goalkeeper could do nothing about it. Lawrence Shanklin, the Hearts captain, who was reintroduced to the team today, managed to get an equaliser, but then right on half-time, Hearts were reduced to 10 men when Michael Steinbender was sent off for a late tackle in front of goal. Hearts held on to 90 minutes. They held on for the first period of extra time, but then Cammy Devlin was sent off for a second yellow card. That had been coming for quite some time. The 9 men had just to hold on for 3 more minutes. Scored 2 minutes from time saw to the end of Hearts' cup run. Jamie McGrath crossed from the right, Jack Milne diverted it towards goal. Craig Gordon made a cracking save, but landed at the feet of the Palestinian striker in the Aberdeen team, and Ode Daba cracks it home, and Aberdeen's fans who've been quiet throughout this game could finally release the nerves and celebrate. So St Johnstone or Celtic will play Aberdeen here next month. It finished at Hampden Park after extra time. Hearts 1, Aberdeen 2.
Cheers, David. And that second semi tomorrow will keep you in touch during the Sunday session from 1:30 on TalkSport. And it's a bit of reward for Aberdeen and their manager who came in last summer, Jimmy Thelin, the Swede. He got them off to an absolute flyer, to the point where people thought they might challenge for the title. Then they thought they might split Celtic and Rangers because they started so well and then completely fell off a cliff. And now they have just come back and got themselves into a Scottish Cup final. Can they go on and win it? We'll see if it's St Johnstone or Celtic when they face each other at Hampden in tomorrow's semi-final. Back round the grounds in the Premier League to the G-Tech. What's been happening there, Alex Crook?
Well, it's still Brentford 0, Brighton 0, but the home side should have season, but from around about 12 yards out, his shot saved by the legs of Brighton goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen. At the other end, Danny Welbeck, inside the first couple of minutes, fired a 20-yard free kick over the crossbar. Interesting setup from the Brighton manager, Fabian Hertzler. We expected Jack Hinshelwood to be the right back, but it's Mats Wiefer, usually a midfielder, who is playing down that right-hand side. At the moment, it's a total mismatch between him and Sharda, as Brian Mbumu is sent one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he fires right-footed into the bottom corner, and Brentford do have their lead. The Brighton players stand and look at each other. It was just a simple pass from inside the centre circle, and Mbumu got in between the two Brighton centre-backs, and as Verbruggen started to come off his line, he fires the shot low and hard into the bottom right corner. This one live on TalkSport 2. The Beast hit the front early. It's Brentford 1, Brighton 0.
Well, Crookie, you mentioned the centre-halves. They're looking at each other. We talked about Lewis Dunk before the game.
Found almost in disbelief at his teammates. I'm just watching the pass now. It actually came from the centre circle, but inside the Brentford half. Van Hecker obviously returning to renew his partnership with Lewis Dunk. Lewis Dunk looking hopefully towards the assistant referee on this near side. I don't know what he's asking for, because Mbumu was clearly onside. And this is a nightmare start, isn't it, for the visitors? 4 games without a win. Thomas Frank obviously saying before the match that Brentford simply had to take 3 points to keep their European dreams alive. I think we're entering that territory for Brighton as well, given their poor run of form.
Indeed, 1-0 to Brentford. You heard it on TalkSport, and the game is live on TalkSport 2. Brentford 1, Brighton 0. Brighton, a little bit of optimism from this stat. 28 away goals they've scored this season. Only Liverpool and Bournemouth have scored more so far this campaign. That's the first goal of the Premier League afternoon. Brentford 1, Brighton 0. Let's head to Selhurst Park with Scott Minto and Jake Robson.
10 minutes played. It's Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 0. Still waiting for our first shot. The best bit of play that we've seen so far, Scott Minto, was Mateta. He managed to sort of just ghost past Scott and Adams. The two of them, they both fell away like a couple of felled trees there. What a specimen he is in the centre of the park. That's about the best we've seen so far.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about the game so far, but he is a specimen, isn't he? And we know how well he's done, especially since Solveig Glasner has taken over, and here scoring goals at Selhurst Park. I just sort of, thinking, okay, well, what can I see here? I can't really see anything, but if I'm a fullback playing for Bournemouth against a wing-back system, I want to try and get 2v1 down the outside. And it's interesting, just looking at the closest side that we are, is Adam Smith going into Eberechi Eze and really going in it, which means that Semenyo has to go with Tyreek Mitchell. He doesn't really want to be tracking back, he wants to be going forward. So there's a real little mind games of battle as to who can win in the formations playing up against each other. As I say, being a fullback myself, I'd want to be trying to get 2v1 against the wing-back every single time.
Well, will that happen? Well, it remains to be seen. 11 on the clock, still waiting for our first shot. Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 0.
And TalkSport taking you to the London Stadium. Alfie Reynolds.
12 minutes played here. West Ham 0, Southampton 0. Steady start to the game. Simon Rusk and Graham Potter stood on the edge of their technical areas watching on. We had an early chance for Fulkrug. It was Paqueta with the low delivery from the right. Fulkrug at the front post, forcing Ramsdale into a low save. And then just a moment ago, before you came to me, from the left, Emerson, low delivery into the 6-yard box. It caused problems. Bowen just couldn't quite get on the end of it. A reminder of how we stand for this match today. If West Ham win, it will confirm Leicester's relegation. Southampton, of course, they're already down, but hoping to surpass Derby's record low points tally. A win and they will do that. 12 minutes played, West Ham 0, Southampton 0.
You're listening to Game Day Live on TalkSport as we take you around the grounds and bring you all the goals as they go in. So far, just the one goal. Brentford lead Brighton 1-0.
Game Day Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes? If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
At Betfair, we relish the plot twists that football's tense run-in delivers. With titles, promotions and relegations on the line, the form book can take a back seat and the drama has the power to rewrite scripts. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Valid for 72 hours on Football Accas or Bet Builders. Min combined odds of 1.5. T's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Game Day Live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Like Aston Villa versus Newcastle live today. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Hard-hitting football coverage. Monday afternoon. Live Championship football on TalkSport 2.
Oh, what about that? Leeds United versus Stoke. Kick-off
3 p.m.
What a great bit of play.
Monday afternoon.
Extreme Easter football extravaganza on TalkSport 2.
I don't believe it!
You're listening to Game Day Live on TalkSport on a Premier League Saturday afternoon, taking you around the grounds. Let's start here at Goodison with John Dunn and Dean Ashton.
Everton 0, Manchester City 0. We've just had a penalty claim for the visitors. It was a ball in from the right. Kevin De Bruyne. Savinho may have had his shirt pulled by Jack Harrison. Pep Guardiola and Savinho in particular adamant and asking Simon Hooper for the decision. Clearly checked by VAR. Referee waving play on. What was your view?
Well, my first instinct was it's a penalty because I thought there's no way he can't get to the ball. And when that ball was played in, classic Kevin De Bruyne on the right-hand side of the penalty area, just whipping it in without looking. And I thought Savinho's free. He's going to get a volley, and all of a sudden he was on the floor. I thought it was a penalty, but we haven't been able to see a proper replay as to exactly how much of a tug that was.
Elsewhere, Everton have had their moments. Ball in from Mikolenko on the left. 3 Everton players went for the same ball. All of them missed it, went for a goal kick. There was a quick free kick as well down the centre of the 18-yard box, just out of the reach of Illiman and Jai. Everton certainly having their moments.
They're so much better than they were under Dyche in terms of when they do go forwards. A couple of slick moves already from Everton to try and open up and create an opportunity.
We've had nearly 15 minutes here. It is Everton 0, Manchester City 0 as a shot comes in from Matteo Nunes, edge of the area, left-footed through a crowd of players. Jordan Pickford diving down to his left and just turning the ball around the post. Everton 0, Manchester City 0.
That, Dean Ashton, decent save because it came through a forest of legs. Jordan Pickford got down well.
He did. It's his big strength, isn't it? Shot stopping. I think I'd back him to make any one of those type of saves.
Absolutely. I think, although we've seen him beaten from long range before, World Cup quarter-final against France.
You don't forget, do you?
Well, you know, just
really don't forget.
It was an important goal. Let's put it that way. Let's go to the G-Tech on TalkSport. Alex Crook.
16 minutes gone here. It's Brentford 1, Brighton 0 on a glorious day in West London. Brentford have made a real mess of playing out from the back here. Danny Welbeck goes down under a challenge from the Brentford goalkeeper Mark Flecken, and there are Brighton players surrounding the referee Tim Robinson. They are asking for a penalty. Honestly, they got themselves in all kinds of trouble, and I'm not sure that Flecken got too much of the ball. I can understand why questions are being asked. VAR will be taking a look at that. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be a corner for Brighton. 1-0 down after Brian Mbeumo scored here at the G-Tech for the first time since New Year's Day. Brighton should have been back on level terms. Soon after that, João Pedro with a delicious cross from the left wing picked out Yankuba Minte at the far post. He headed into the... It will be a Brighton corner though. This game live on TalkSport to Ian Danta and Perry Groves calling the action. So a good response to Brighton from that early setback, and the corner is about to be whipped in by Matt O'Reilly, the Danish international, from this left-hand side. And they have a lot of aerial ability, Brighton, and on cue the ball is nodded by Hinshelwood into the arms of Flecken, and it stays Brentford 1, Brighton 0.
That is live on TalkSport 2 right now. To get TalkSport 2, just download the TalkSport app for free. You can swipe between TalkSport and TalkSport 2, and also on there you got all the Virgin Music stations as well, Times Radio, keeping you in touch with world events, and you can also just tell your smart speaker to play TalkSport 2. Right, let's head to Selhurst Park with Scott Minto. Jake Robson.
17 minutes played, it's Palace 0, Bournemouth 0. We've just had our first yellow card. Tyler Adams for a cynical trip on Eze as the wide man was attacking mid-deep into the Bournemouth half, kind of on a counter. We just had really good chance for Bournemouth. Semenyo with a shot through the bodies after the ball was recycled from a corner, and Howson was there at the back post. It looked like he was maybe offside. The flag never came, and I just think, Scott Minto, that the centre-back, he didn't quite believe the ball was going to get to him.
Yeah, he had the mindset of a centre-half there, didn't he? He didn't think like a striker. You know, what if it comes to the far post? How am I going to react to this and just adjust my body? But it was a really well-worked corner, I have to say. And you know, now Palace are going down the other end, and it was a very cynical foul from Tyler Adams, and deservedly a yellow card. We want to see Eze on the ball. We want to see the exciting players on the ball. So the game's just starting to open up now after what was 10-15 minutes of not a lot, I've got to be honest.
It's going to be Hughes or Eze, is it? It's Hughes runs over it and Eze flicks it in, and it's headed away as far as Wharton, who slices one almost away for a throw-in.
It's so Selhurst Park, isn't it? I do love this place. I made my debut here when Charlton were here at Selhurst Park, but it's so old school. We're looking at the moment, if there's a goal in the top corner in the Bournemouth end, we're not going to see it because we've got some kind of speaker coming down in front of us.
Debut then, what year was that?
Blimey, that was 88.
Oh, year I was born. Lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Palace 0, Bournemouth 0.
Oh, you got to spend the rest of the afternoon with him. Why have you done him like that live on national radio? Incredible. Let's head to the London Stadium on TalkSport. Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, it's West Ham 0, Southampton 0. Just as we have some appeals from the West Ham players for a handball in the penalty area waved away by the referee and Kitchen. So Fulcrook's early chance, which forced Ramsdale into a low Marner shot outside the box. It was deflected behind the Hammers goal. So something for the Southampton fans away to my right hand side to take encouragement from. We're approaching the midway point of the first half. It's West Ham 0, Southampton 0.
Alfie, just a word on how West Ham are playing and maybe any kind of sign of reaction from the crowd, because the crowd will go there expecting some good football, expecting goals and expecting a comfortable win against the side already relegated.
Yeah, and Graham Potter, to be fair, has gone with a more attacking lineup. Jared Byrne, Paqueta and Kudus playing behind Fulkrug. I know you mentioned it before the game, but the German making just his fourth start in the Premier League this season, had his injury troubles of course as well. It has not been great for West Ham since Graham Potter came in. 12 points in 12 games. They're winless in 5 league matches. We know they're not going to go down, so they do need to try and show something, I suppose, for them to build upon ahead of next season. It hasn't been great up to this point. Look, they should win today against Southampton, we all know that, and I think these fans will want to see something. I must say though, Adrian, given where these two teams are, with Southampton already relegated, West Ham just above the relegation zone, but of course they're going to be safe. There is the kind of feel today as a few empty seats. It almost has that feel of an end of season game with not too much riding on it. West Ham fans will hope that those players are able to produce something which can get them out of their seat.
Yeah, very interesting afternoon I think ahead for West Ham United. We were talking about that moment, the fact that West Ham fans aren't complaining yet about Graham Potter. 3 Premier League wins in 12 they've had since Potter came in. Only the bottom 3 have picked up fewer points since Potter took over. It's just 12 goals under Graham Potter as well. Only Leicester and Southampton have scored fewer. I would say that if West Ham were to lose to Southampton today, or even not win against Southampton today, that may well change the minds of a few West Ham fans. Yes, this early, and you might think it's too early, but Lopetegui left after half a season at West Ham. The judgment is passed pretty early at a football club like West Ham United. So let's see how it goes. 17th in the table, West Ham at the start of the day. Stay there, and that's their lowest finish since promotion in 2012. And let's not forget, this is Southampton, who have been absolutely 7 games left lost a club record 26 games this season, conceded 77 goals, which is horrific, and 1 point from the last 8 games, so even the current form isn't particularly good. They're on the third manager, Simon Russ, the interim manager, just 23 goals scored. They're breaking all sorts of records, lowest number of goals scored in the Premier League. Their club record low is 34, so they're going to break that one as well, and obviously that important record that they look to avoid, and that is Derby's lowest points tally, and that is 11 points. They're currently on 10. It's a no-brainer. It has to be a home win, and has to be a decent home win. Otherwise, the West Ham fans will have, let's just say, they will have opinions on what's going on there. Let's give you some goals elsewhere, because Scottish Championship, League 1 and League 2 are ongoing this afternoon north of the border, as well as earlier we had that Scottish Cup semi-final that we brought you the full time from, talking 2-1 against Nine-Man for back-to-back promotions. So going from Scottish League 1 through the Scottish Championship and into the Scottish Premier League, leading already against Raith Rovers, who've been in a bit of decent form under Barry Robson recently, but they lead 1-0, Falkirk 1, Raith Rovers 0. Calvin Miller, Falkirk top and clear in the Scottish Championship, heading one automatic promotion place to the Scottish Premier League. You're listening to Game Day Live on TalkSport, taking you around the grounds with all the goals as they go in. Let's go around again here at Goodison Park. Dean Ashton and John Dunn.
24 minutes gone, still Everton 0, Manchester City 0. Just that shot from Mateus Nunes last time you were here at 15 minutes in, edge of the area, left-footed through a crowd of bodies, tipped around the post by Jordan Pickford. Everton coming into this one unbeaten in their last 6 home games. They've drawn their last 4 though here at Goodison Park. It is the 100th meeting between the two here at this famous old stadium, but we're just waiting for a bit of a spark, Dean.
It's just been a bit sloppy, to be honest, in and around the penalty areas for both sides. Everton have had a couple of great moves and got into good positions. Jack Harrison only a minute ago on the right hand side, cutting in and looking to cross, and just crosses it straight out of play, and that opportunity's gone. And similar for Manchester City, a couple of times they've tried to play Marmoush in over the top, and it's just been overhit, or it's too high and allowed Tarkowski just to get over the top of him. So we're just waiting at the moment for a genuine bit of quality at the moment.
From an Everton perspective, Iliman and Jai on the team sheet, you'll see him on the left hand side, but he just drifts into different areas. It feels like we talk about the word spark. He will be Everton's spark this afternoon.
He's one of those players as well that's able to take it in under pressure and almost use his body to kind of bounce defenders off as he controls it and bounce away from them, and then try and combine with Broja, who's yet to really get into the game. A couple of high balls from Pickford is not really going to help him.
Manchester City unbeaten in their last 4 Premier League games. They're in that final Champions League spot, but only by a point. 25 gone here. Everton 0, Manchester City 0.
And Dean, Jack Harrison's come in for a bit of criticism from Everton fans. You know, I think they all feel there's a better player in there than they get to see week in, week out. He's playing on the right-hand side, up against Nico O'Reilly. He should be rubbing his hands together, saying, right, I'm going to have a field day here, right?
Yeah, but it was great endeavour. I think he's a hard worker. I think he'll do his defensive work. I think he can look lively getting down the right-hand side. But the end product is poor most of the time, and that's something he needs to clearly work on and have consistency with.
Yeah, not been their player of the season. Let's put it that way. The roar is because Everton go forward, but it remains Everton 0, Manchester City 0 here at Goodison Park. Just 2 more games to go in the Premier League here at Goodison after this one today. Ipswich and Southampton will be heading this way before they close the doors on this famous old ground and head to Bramley Moor Dock. It is Game Day Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent a Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has all the vehicles your business needs with the flexibility to rent for minutes or months. Right, let's head to the G-Tech on TalkSport. Alex Crook.
Just past the midway point in the first half, it's still Brentford 1, Brighton 0. Brian Mbeumo with the only goal on 9 minutes. A neat finish into the far corner after finding himself one-on-one with the Brighton goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen, and he has looked more like his old self today. Mbeumo, he whipped in a dangerous cross to around about 12 yards out. It was met by Kevin Schade with the header straight into the gloves of Verbruggen. So Brentford still looking like they could be in the mood for more goals here this afternoon. Brighton have not had too many clear-cut opportunities to get back on level terms. They did have that penalty appeal waved away by the referee Tim Robinson when Danny Welbeck went down under a challenge from Mark Flecken, but apart from that, the Brentford defence has stood pretty firm as Welbeck tries to get a shot away from the edge of the area. It's blocked, and Fabian Hertzler down below us shows his frustration. As it stands, Brentford will be within 2 points of Fulham in 9th place. 9th probably will be enough for a European spot next season. Brighton, well, they will stay 10th, 2 points ahead of their hosts here this afternoon. Long way to go though, this one live on TalkSport 2. It's Brentford 1, Brighton 0. And
Crookie, a word on Brighton defensively, because you mentioned before briefly about Hinshelwood there, and we've talked about how the goal was conceded, and talked before the game about Lewis Dunk. Defensively, is there work to do in the summer?
Yeah, I think there probably is actually. Lewis Dunk's on the ball now, and he's been a brilliant servant, hasn't he, for Brighton. He's a terrific character as well, but he's had injury issues this season. He's just played